Today we're taking Derrick Rose's career and putting it in reverse, which means he'll be starting off in Memphis as a rookie, and he'll be moving on to New York, Detroit, and Minnesota, before finally ending up back in Chicago. One thing's for sure though, NBA history will never be the same, as already in his first year he put up averages of 19, 2, and 4, and being paired up with Rudy Gay and Mike Conley, the trio already started getting to work, as it was clear their chemistry was like no other. Sadly, the trio only went 30 and 52, a lackluster season for such a great team. But just like that, Derrick Rose's quick tenure in Memphis came to an end, as he would make his way out of Memphis into the big city of New York. Teaming up with an aging Tracy McGrady and a young Danilo Gallinari, they looked to finally bring a chip back to New York. Young Derrick Rose was balling out, being able to put up 26, 5, and 3. It was clear the future in New York was bright, and at the end of the season they finished 45 and 37. Capping off a phenomenal year by Tracy and D Rose. But somehow, even with that record, the team could not make the playoffs, as they finished with the 9th seed. After the season was over, Tracy decided to leave and go to Detroit, which left D Rose all alone until Amari Stoudemire and Carmelo Anthony decided to join him. This trio of players had just become the best team in the NBA, and it showed because they were able to go 47 and 35 and clinch the 4th seed. First round was not going to be easy, as they had to go against a prime Paul George, and it was clear first game of the series this was going to be tough, as they were hitting their shots but Paul George was hitting them too. The series came down to a game 7 where the Knicks couldn't hold on, and in Derrick Rose's first playoff series they go home in 7. The next season was different though. There was a different type of fire in all three of those guys' eyes, and it was clear they wanted to win, as this was also Derrick Rose's last year in New York. This could be the last opportunity Derrick Rose gets to win a championship. And in the regular season, the Knicks went 60 and 22, and that was able to secure them the 1st seed. And after steamrolling everybody in the playoffs, the Knicks and Derrick Rose made their first ever finals. But it was no easy competition because they had to go against Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. And after spectacular play by Derrick Rose, the odds seemed to be in the Knicks' favor. But after a long 7-game series, it came down to game 7. And the Knicks were able to come out on top. For the first time in Derrick Rose's career, he's an NBA champion. And even though Derrick Rose is going to have to leave next year, I know he's definitely soaking up this moment, as now he is officially in the history books. Derrick Rose is even able to secure the Finals MVP. Now it's just a matter of time till he gets his second one. With the news dropping of D Rose signing with Detroit, it had the NBA world shook, some saying how could a player leave a team after they just brought him to the NBA Finals. And it was clear all the media attention was getting to him, as his play from last year compared to this year was not the same. He wasn't playing with as much ferociousness, aggression, or pride he once played with the Knicks, and was only able to put up 11, 5, and 2, which were almost all career lows for Derrick Rose, and he knew he was in a slump. But it was clear it definitely hurt him leaving his team to go with a much worse organization. But no matter how much complaining he would do, it did not matter. He was stuck with the Pistons for at least 2 years. But suddenly, after playing the Lakers, something changed. He seemed more motivated, more angry, and it was clear he wanted to win no matter what team he was on. Derrick Rose put the team on his back, carrying a piss-poor Pistons team to a 41 and 41 record, and was able to secure the 7th seed. This was Rose's last year for the Pistons, and his goal is to show the teams that left him that he can still play. But the only thing standing in his way is the big 3, LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh. LeBron is in the last year of his contract, so you know he's going to play. And after a long, hard fight, there was nothing Derrick Rose could do to stop them, as the Pistons would end up losing in 5. After an absolute heartbreaker to end his Pistons tenure, Derrick Rose was committed to taking this team to the finals, and he didn't care what it took. Even though this team is very young, he believes it's possible. Even though this team was young and the competition was tough, Derrick Rose still gave this team hope, as in his first season there he was able to go 51 and 31, and he was able to secure the 4th seed. But once again, he would still come up short. Now faced with a lot of adversity, it seems like the Timberwolves organization has already given up on him. But little does Derrick Rose know, his future teammate would be hoisting up gold, and he was saving a spot next to him without him even knowing. At the start of year 8, he had a lot to prove. It was clear the team was giving up hope on him, so all he could do was go out there and play his best. But in the middle of the season, he got news that he was traded. He got news that he would be playing with Kyrie and LeBron to form arguably the best trio in NBA history. And it was clear right as he landed in Cleveland, the chemistry was there. As every pass they threw, every shot they shot, it all seemed just perfect. And perfect it was. because this trio led their team to a 75-7 record, which is the best record of all time. But the only way they can be the best team is if they win the championship. In the first round of the playoffs, they went against Toronto. Just like the regular season was, everything was going perfectly. Every pass they did, every shot they took, it was all just working. And they kept their in-season momentum by sweeping the Raptors 4-0. They were then able to easily get to the finals, but now they would go against their toughest opponent yet. Prime 2016 73-9 Warriors, headlined by of course Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And it was clear this was the Cavaliers' toughest opponent yet, as every shot they made, the Warriors made too. And one of the only teams the Cavaliers lost to in the regular season was the Warriors. But they didn't lose hope. It was clear this was the best Derrick Rose version we've ever seen. He was hitting shot after shot, even dropping a 40-point game. And it was clear he wanted this more than LeBron, Kyrie, Steph, or even anybody. And after being up 3-1, the Cavaliers were able to take Game 5 by 9 points. And once that clock hits 0, the Cavaliers can finally call themselves champions. And LeBron can finally say that he kept his promise to Cleveland. Now Derrick Rose finally has 2 rings. And with 2 rings, multiple All-Stars, I think it's finally time to start putting Derrick Rose in the top 25 conversation. It is a very bittersweet moment though, as after the season, Derrick Rose will have to go back to the Knicks and leave this potential dynasty behind. But his one goal in mind is to get ring number 3. Even though Derrick Rose had to lose the dynasty, he's still getting paired up with a former teammate Carmelo Anthony. Right as the season started, you could tell the chemistry never left, as they were still playing phenomenal basketball. The only issue was the surrounding cast was horrible. They only went 28-54, missing the playoffs for their final time together. Now on year 10, this is Derrick Rose's final team, which means it's his last opportunity to win a ring. And already with 2 rings, he wants to get ring number 3, and he was playing lights out. Being paired with a young Jimmy Butler gave D Rose a new hope, and that hope got him a 72-10 record, first in the NBA and the first seed. And in his first round matchup against the Celtics, he had to go against a former teammate in Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie made sure it wasn't easy for him. But it didn't matter what Kyrie did, as Derrick Rose still prevailed, and would go on to advance to the NBA Finals. The Finals matchup wouldn't be easy though, because he was going against OKC. And in the offseason, Carmelo Anthony signed with OKC, because it was shown which one needed them more, as OKC would win their first ever Finals. And it hurt D Rose watching his former teammate win the championship without him, but the only thing he could do is come back next year even better. Next season was different though. He was playing by far the best basketball of his career, and finally just started to reach his prime. And even though he lost Jimmy Butler, that was not going to stop him. Now in his 11th season, he wins his first ever MVP, and he's now finally starting to cement himself as a top 15 player of all time. This has to be the best season ever. What other player besides Luka's putting up 30, 15, 11, 2, and 2? You tell me. And after trucking his way through the first 3 rounds, Derrick Rose was back to the finals for his 4th time. And it is not no easy task, as this is a very stacked Clipper squad. And that was apparent to see when Derrick Rose couldn't get anything going in the first 3 games. And that was eventually Derrick Rose's demise, as they would lose in 4, marking the 2nd year in a row Derrick Rose has lost in the finals. All these losses have had people questioning how good Derrick Rose's rings actually were, and if they're even legitimate at that. But this finals loss did something to him. After making the finals 2 years in a row and losing them both, for the next 3 years the Bulls would never see a winning season. It was clear this loss affected Derrick Rose mentally, and as much as we wanted the old Derrick Rose back, it didn't seem that was happening, as he was already getting to his mid-30s. Year 15 was different though, just all off season, and he was even able to get every negative thing the media said about him out of his head. This was a brand new Derrick Rose with a brand new and better roster. He was even able to get back to pre-pandemic Derrick Rose. He was so dominant in the regular season, he led his team back to the playoffs for the first time in 3 years, something that the media said would never happen again. In the first round, Derrick Rose looked like a younger version of himself from the Knicks. Every shot he shot, he was making, and he was even able to sweep the Bucks in the first round. But in the second round against the 76ers, he took him to a Game 7, but he couldn't hold on. And just like that, that would finish his 15th year in the NBA. And with only 1 year left to prove his legacy, while everyone was on vacation, Derrick Rose and the Bulls were working, hoping to make it back to the finals but finally win it. On year 16, Derrick Rose came out swinging, but the rest of the Bulls roster didn't. And with Derrick Rose putting up 25, 7, and 3, he tried his best, but the Bulls could only get the 7th seed. And in round 1, he's facing a very familiar opponent. But with the Bucks being the 2 seed, there was not much Derrick Rose could do, as Derrick Rose would lose his final series 4-2. And that would mark Derrick Rose's final year on the court, and he would now go on vacation to like Hawaii or something like that. But with 2 championships and an MVP under his belt, I think he had a pretty successful career. If you guys want more videos like this, consider subscribing. It's down there, it's free. Just saying. Thank you.